We're going to cook something that dates back a long time. That's a traditional Italian meal that my mum learnt many years ago. She learnt off her grandmother how to make this. So what is it? We're going to make lasagna. That's right, lasagna, homemade lasagna. Scratch and go right through to the end, guys, so hopefully it's not going to be too long of videos for you. We're going to make the sauce first, and I'm going to let my mum do that because she's been doing it for years, but I'm going to help out in making the pasta itself. So the pasta is going to be handmade. You can see the flour we use here. We like to use this one here, which is a farina la grana tenero, soft wheat flour from Italy. Now all this you can buy at your local Coles or Woolworths here in Australia. My mum used to make the sauce, but nowadays we've got good quality sauce such as this one by Muti. This is really nice, guys. You'd be hard up to make a sauce that tastes better than this, but that's our opinion. Some of you purists probably wouldn't agree. What do you think, Mum?
Very good sauce.
Yeah, we like this sauce.
Put a little bit of the oil on a dish. Put some mince, cook the mince.
Who taught you to make this lasagna?
My grandmother.
How many years ago?
Oh, long time ago.
Long time, yes. And that's how they traditionally made this. But back then you would have made your own sauce.
Yes.
I would love to make my own sauce using egg tomatoes. And it's very rarely you'll ever see anyone that's selling egg tomatoes where we live. For you guys living in the cities, you'll probably have a better chance than what we do that lives in a farming community to buy egg tomatoes. A lot of the Italians, particularly local in the area, we just buy the sauce already made. It's quicker, it's easy, and quite often sometimes it actually works out cheaper. So my mum's got a little saucepan here. She's put some olive oil in here.
I'll put this on the top of the stove.
We got top quality mince here that we bought from the butchers yesterday. Cook this until it's brown, and then once it's brown, then that sauce bottle here that I showed you before, we're just going to pour the whole lot in here.
We picture the mince very small.
So she's breaking it up into smaller pieces. Starting to brown up quite nicely now. How much more do we need to cook that, Mum, before we add the sauce?
Nearly to put the sauce.
So it's nearly ready to put the sauce now.
Yeah,
So my mum's going to add the sauce now. The whole bottle. And then we cook it on a real slow temperature for how many hours?
About 1 hour.
For about 1 hour at a simmer. We are now going to make the pasta. Okay, so we've got one of those stainless steel mixing bowls here. She's already put some flour in there, and she's going to add some more flour now. Now that's not all the flour we're going to use. We're going to add more flour onto that. But this is a start. Now how many eggs are you using here, Mum?
Well, 4 eggs.
She's going to use 4 eggs. Now however many eggs you use is dependent on the size of the dish that you're going to use to make the pasta in. This is usually when I take over. It's a bit easier for me to mix this than for me mum. And we slowly start, if you can see that there, we then slowly start to mix this together. And then I'm going to add more flour as need be. So you can see that's well combined now, so I'm going to add a bit more flour. Again, I've been making this for quite a while now, so I've got a pretty good idea when the consistency looks right. So I don't know how much flour exactly adding in. We never measure it and we never weigh it out. It's just till it looks right. You want it soft and you don't want it too hard. So that's too soft right now. Once I've got it to pretty good consistency that I like, then I'm going to put it on flour this little wooden bench here. And we're going to knead it by hand. Now you can buy machines that will do this, such as the KitchenAid mixers. They have an attachment to make dough. And in fact, I'm actually looking at trying to get one myself. Alright. Now, I've washed my hands beforehand. Now this stuff dries pretty quick, so once you've got your spoons and forks in the water, you want to make sure that you actually rinse them off real quick, same as your bowl. So I'm just going to rinse that off now, and that will make it a lot easier for me to clean later. It'll be a lot softer. So it's very sticky. You need to add quite a fair bit more flour there. So this is and that's all you do, guys. So that's still very soft. I'm going to need a lot more flour than that. I should have added more flour on before. That's probably going to be enough. Now I'm just going to keep mixing this. And eventually all this flour would be combined in with this dough. Depends how much effort you put into it. If you get one of those machines, the KitchenAid machines, they are a lot quicker and of course a lot less work. Now you can see it's used up pretty much all that flour that I had on the board. It's pretty much all used up now, guys. So as a technique, I kind of put my body weight into it. So you kind of turn it over itself, and you do the same when you're making your pizza dough. Same technique. Of course, you don't use eggs though when you're making your pizza dough. You use warm water mixed with yeast and some salt. I just turned that temperature down on the sauce over there. You can see in the background, you could probably see it boiling away. And you forgot to turn it down. So you just want that to simmer. And every so often we're just going to give that a mix. That's better. Add a little bit more flour here. Now this board that I'm using here, guys, this came from Italy. My parents took this back from them from Italy. When was it? Back in about, when did you last go to Italy?
98.
98, and you came back with this in your luggage, didn't you, Mum?
Yeah.
Just a bit of ply. It's a wonder they got through customs back then. So it is 24 years old, this board, and every so often I just give it a clean and put some food grade oil on it. So this dough is feeling pretty good to me now. Now, when you do dough for pasta, I find you don't need to work it as much as what you do if you're making the dough balls for your pizza. So right now my mum's sitting down watching telly. So guys, give this recipe a go and try that sauce that I showed you, that muesli. In fact, I'll grab the bottle and tell you what the ingredients is. Oh, okay, it's not.
You wanted a sauce?
Oh yeah, the bottle. Well, I mix this with one hand. So, it's really nice. You want a good look there. So, sorry, I don't have my reading glasses on, but see what I can. It says tomato puree with basil. Ingredients is tomatoes, 99% tomato, which is I like. It's got salt, basil extract, and that's basically it. And it's only Italian tomatoes, GMO free, whatever that is, I don't know. So, made in Italy. So, it's as good a sauce as any, I think. Just about, in my opinion. You'll really notice the taste. But not just lasagna, you can use that with your normal pasta as well. It's a great sauce to use as the pasta. And you can buy it in smaller bottles. Okay, this is what's this, 700 grams. So you can buy it in much smaller bottles. So you're probably wondering, so that's almost ready. Now you're probably wondering how I'm going to make the pasta sheets. Well, we got a pasta machine, one of those hand ones that you commonly see around. You can pick up for like, I don't know, how much are they? $50, $60, Mum? So, some are dear, you can get some that are over $100. We just got one that's worth about $60. It was on sale at a kitchen shop locally in town many years ago. And they last a long time. Most important thing with them is you don't put water on them when you clean them. You just use a brush. So you put plenty of flour on here so it doesn't stick. Now you can see how nice that dough is coming now. Look at that, nice uniform colour, feels nice. So that's ready now. So now we're just going to roll it out a bit, and I'm just going to leave it sit here on the bench to rest for a short while, not long, and then when we'll come back we'll get the pasta machine out and I'll show you how you use that pasta machine and what settings we use ours on. and then we'll roll out the pasta sheets. So cheers till then. No, half hour or odd half hour later, so we've let that rest for a little while, maybe 15 minutes. So, got the pasta machine. So let's talk a bit about the pasta machine. Again, this is an Italian one. Napoli pasta machine, Davis and Waddell. So it's one of the better ones that you can see. So it's not the cheapest of the cheapest ones. We've had this one for quite a long time. So simple to put together. So basically, just clamps onto your bench, like so. Most of you, no doubt, would have seen these before. So it's got settings on here. This one here, so what these settings do, there's a knob here that you pull out and you turn this knob, and what that does is sets the thickness of your pasta. So when we first make this, we're going to roll it out thicker, and then each pass we roll it out so it's thinner. You've got a handle here. Okay, so we use the handle there as well, and there's a brush, and that's basically all you do when you finish with it. You just clean it like so. So you don't wet these guys, you don't wet them, you don't wash them as such, you just brush over as clean. So if you make sure the pasta dough that you make, you can see now it's not sticky at all. If you make sure that it's the right consistency and flour it well, you're not going to have any major mess on here. This is attachment for making your pasta, spaghetti and so on. So we're not using that. So the sauce is looking really good and it smells really nice. This is the dish we're going to make. We generally make it bigger, but unfortunately we broke the handles off the other one. So we're going to have to make this a smaller pasta lasagna. So we cut it into different sizes like so. And then what I like to do, get some flour, because you don't want it sticky now. And if you put flour over it, it stops it from getting sticky. Now you're not going to fit this through the roller there like so. So what I like to do is cover it well with flour, press it down like that to help it start out with. Okay, now that will go through this machine, no problems at all like that. Now you can buy attachments for your KitchenAid mixers that instead of turning this, it turns around, you just get the beans and boom, right there. Wouldn't mind getting that myself one day.
Make sure you check last time it was a little bit thick in the pasta. Make sure the size of it.
We're going to talk about how to set this particular brand up, the Napoli. Each pasta machine have a dial gauge on them where they set the thickness. They're not all the same, guys, so you're going to have to experiment. But if you got this one, it's got a dial gauge that goes from 1, which is the thinnest, right up to 7. So we're going to finish off with a thickness of 4. So we're going to start at 7, roll at 7, then 6, 5, 4. So it's 7, 6, 5, 4. So 4 times they'll go through the machine. Now, in order to do that, we just sit the dough in there. Nice steady speed. And just roll that out like so. And then place that on the bench. Now, to make it easier, make sure your bench is well floured. And we'll keep going through and do that with each one. So this is number 7. As you can see. So what I'll do shortly is I will move the camera up closer so you can get a close-up footage of the pasta machine in action. That's it. Now I'd like to see how we got nice coating of flour. I like to make sure it's got a nice coating of flour on both sides, so make sure it won't stick in the machine. And that's why I sprinkled that flour out on the bench before. And now we set it to number 6. So right, let me move the camera up close now so you can see this. So we've now got that set at number 6. Now to do that, you just pull it out and turn the knob till you're at the number. So you can see it's now set at number 6. And now we will go through the machine at number 6. Doing the same. Get a little bit more flour here, just to make sure it doesn't stick, like so. Now this flour brand that we're using is a 00 farina soft wheat flour. It's from 1 kilo size, and Lasagna is the company, and I believe this is a product of Italy as well. I've tried many different flours that you can buy at the regular grocery store, and we found that one to be the best, but not just for your lasagna, for your spaghetti as well. It's really nice, makes really nice fresh spaghetti. It's better than that stuff you buy that's already made, guys, especially the lasagna. Those lasagna sheets, guys, just got nothing over fresh pasta. So that was number 6. So we've gone through twice now. We need to go through 2 more times. So we'll go to number 5. Okay, make sure. Now there's not too much flour there. You don't want to overdo it. So that's number 5. And you can see each time as you go through the machine, the longer it gets. Look at this one. You can make them until they're way back here. That one's too long. I'm going to have to cut it down. You want to cut them down so they suit the size of the dish that you're using, so you don't have to fold them over. You can see the difference now that number 5 is going through now. For example, look at the length of this one. And look at the length now. It's almost like twice the length. So, and when you go through the 4th one, that's where it makes a really big difference. And then I'll just cut them down in half to suit. And then after we've gone through the 4th one, then we let them rest. We let the pasta rest. So that's one more time. Just going to put a little bit more flour. Just spread that out. A nice even coat. See the length of that now? You watch the difference it makes when you go through that 4th time. This is long. Here, watch this one stretch out. Look at that. And this one, you can see what I mean. So you definitely don't want to go any thinner than this. And you don't want to go any thicker either. In fact, my mum said the last lot we made, she thought it was too thick. Was it too thick, the pasta, Mum?
Yes, what a little bit thick.
Yeah, which is unusual because we did go through number 4. And it's the first time she's actually said that. I'm going to get one of these smaller pieces and go through number 3 and show you the difference. Okay, so let's set this on at number 3. There we go. Might get me mum to come have a look at this and see if she wants it set at 3 or 4. You want to have a look, Mum? This one here is 3. The rest are all 4.
Just the 4.
Yeah.
And too thick, put it this one here.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go 3 on all these guys. And look how much longer they get now. So if you get the consistency of the pasta right, look, see? You can make them huge. Wow, look how long this one is. I can barely reach in here. Now if you don't get the right thickness, consistency, the volume of the eggs to the flour, when you make these, you're never going to get pasta sheets this long. If you can see, it's just well over a metre long. Probably approaching 1.5 meters long. So we don't measure, as I mentioned before, never have. That's it. So now these are going to cut down the size to fit. It's going to be just a bit shorter than the knife. So we'll cut these down to length. Around about that length there. And it just makes it easier when you go to put them together. Hey Mum,
Yeah.
how much easier does it make it? Let's move this past the machine. We're finished with it now. Now to clean this later, all I'm going to do is just brush it, get the excess flour out of it, and then put it away. So you can see nice, even, uniform size pasta sheets. It's going to be perfect, this pasta. So of course, this is a day process, guys, although we've almost finished most of the work here. But you will not view this video till tomorrow, because I have to edit this, and of course we're not going to cook it and eat this until tonight. You can see if we put them in there, it's a perfect size inside for that. And that is it. We are completed. We are done. We just put that in some boiling water with a bit of oil in it. We'll show you that. Olive oil, this helps stops it stick. Add a little bit of salt, but not too much. We're ready for the next step now. So it is now 12:30. I did mention before that we'll be coming back later this afternoon to boil this and put it together. But we're actually doing that now, because what you do, the best process is to put it together now, and then we're going to cook it later on this afternoon. So what we need to do, you can see the pasta is all nice and dried now, okay, so it's all ready to go. So what we need to do, we need to get a good volume of water. You can see right here on my little Smart Touch Slimline induction cooktop that I've got set at 1500 watts now. I started it about 5-10 minutes ago, and it's just on the verge of starting to boil now. So what we do now is we're going to boil these pasta sheets inside here. Now just ask me, Mum, how long you usually 10-15 minutes, eh?
10 minutes.
Usually about 10 minutes we're boiling for. And then we'll put them in a dish, and I'll grab the dish now. So you want a couple of dishes. Close by. So they'll just sit here, and they'll sit on top of that. And then as you're taking the pasta out, you put them in there, and then we will rinse them under fresh cold water to cool it down. And then my mum will start putting the lasagna together. Now of course, you can't have lasagna without some cheese. So we are using shredded mozzarella cheese, and that's the one that we use. That's the one we choose. Okay, it's the perfect for lasagna and cannelloni. So it's a perfect Italian mozzarella. Again, readily available at your local groceries, Woolworths, Coles, IGA, whoever you like to go to here in Australia. So my mum's going to do that. The pasta sauce is sitting there ready to go. So my mum's going to put a bit of salt in there now, and she's going to do that right now. While she's doing that, let me grab the
And the sauce.
olive oil. I'm going to put a fair bit of olive oil in here because we've got a large volume of water. Now I find by adding olive oil in there, it's going to stop the pasta from sticking together when I'm cooking them. Now is this salt, Mum? How much salt do we put in? So that much?
A little bit more.
So I've got, say, that much again.
Yeah.
So I've got about a tablespoon of salt in there. So I hope that's enough there. Now we're going to let this, I'm just going to boost this up to maximum 1800 watts that this one will go to. So I'm going to get this water on the boil, and then once it's on the boil, we're going to start adding the sheets of lasagna into the pot. My mum's now getting the mozzarella ready. This is what we always like to use, mozzarella, hey Mum?
Yeah.
So she's going to put them in a different bowl. So I'm just going to make some room here. I'm just going to move these pasta sheets out the way here. So I can add this bowl here, right beside there. So I'll just transfer them into here. And I'm going to grab I like to use these two for getting the pasta out. So, what we'll do now is we'll wait that comes to the boil. Okay, as you can see now the water is boiled. So we've got a bit of salt in there, we've got the oil in there now, and I'm going to put the pasta in now. So we just grab one sheet at a time and feed it in slowly like so. Now we don't do the whole lot in one batch. I might see if I got a pretty big dish here, so I might see if I can actually just have it done in 2 batches. And every so often we'll just give it a mix. So we'll look at the time now. So it's just after 1:45 in the afternoon here now. That might be enough. That's the first batch, and the rest of these we'll leave for after this. So I'm just going to turn that down to about 1500 watts. We'll have to be extra careful here because these are been rolled out to the number 3 setting, so it can break easily if you're not careful. The biggest thing is you just be careful when you remove them out and you're handling them to put them together. And so we'll give that close to 10 minutes, and then once that's boiled, after 10 minutes, then we'll transfer in here, and as I mentioned, we'll then get some cold water out of the tap over the top to cool it down. And then my mum will start putting the lasagna together using the mozzarella cheese that we've got here. Okay, that's been about 5 minutes, guys, and you know what? I reckon that's ready. You want to have a look at this, Mum? I reckon they're ready to transfer over into this pot over here. What do you think? Couple more minutes. I hope that lens is not fogging up too much. So I'm just going to turn this down now to 500. And we're going to very carefully lift this out. You've got to try to be extra careful when you're doing this, so that the pasta don't break on you. Oops, like for example, perfect example there. Because it's number 3, just let most of the water run off. Okay, now we'll quickly bring that back to the boil. And we'll add the rest of the lasagna sheets that were made up this morning. And now what I'm going to do now, is transfer this over to the kitchen sink and give it a rinse. And this is exactly the same process as before. So you know what this is, so give this another close to 10 minutes. And I'll do exactly the same, transfer onto here over to the sink. So now we'll cue over to the shot, over to the sink, and show me Mum putting the lasagna together. So what she's done, she's put a bit of the sauce on the base first, then she's put a layer of the lasagna on, and then she puts another layer of the sauce that we made up earlier this morning down, and then on top of that she's going to put some of the mozzarella cheese sprinkled over the top. So if you watch, you'll see her do all this now, and she's going to keep doing this until she's finished, till we run out of sauce and mozzarella and pasta sheet. So there goes the mozzarella now. Meanwhile, the rest of the pasta sheets are boiling away. They're almost ready. So you would have seen her give it a rinse with the water before. How's it look, Mum?
Good.
You happy with it?
Yeah.
Do you think the pasta looks a lot better at number 3 than number 4, eh?
Yeah, not much better than number 3.
Yeah, number 4 might have been a little bit too thick.
Too thick than number 4.
Yeah.
Moghi's working with this small one. Oh, the big one. I'm glad you broke it. I'm glad, very hard.
My mum didn't like the real big pasta, the lasagna dish. She much prefers to work with this smaller one. Because you can imagine that bigger ones are a lot heavier too.
I'm glad that you broke that one. Very hard for me.
It's funny. So that other pasta is now ready in the water. I've turned the boil right down so it doesn't overcook. But it's coming out really good. So what are we eating tonight, Mum?
Lasagna.
Yeah, what are we eating tomorrow?
Lasagna.
Yeah? And now some mozzarella. And what temperature are you cooking the oven for, Mum?
180.
So it's 180 degrees Celsius for how long?
About 1 hour.
About 1 hour. So then we've got to cook this again in the oven for 180 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. And if you don't eat the whole lot, like we never do, you can put the rest in the fridge and just heat it up the next day and have it that way. And in fact, sometimes it actually tastes better when after it's reheated the following day, when you're making particularly spaghetti, your fresh pasta, when you make it like this yourself, quite often it tastes better the following day after it's reheated and it's been in the fridge overnight. Turn off the induction cooktop. I love the induction cooktop, as you're aware. I think they're brilliant. I use the induction cooktop at home, predominantly at home, instead of the electric cooktop that we've got, because it's more easy, it's more efficient, uses less power overall, quicker to heat up, and it's a lot safer too, particularly for me mum, it's a lot safer. So I've got the next lot of pasta over here now, and that's all of it. So I've done it up in 2 batches. So this is just going to cool that down now. So just cold water straight out of the tap. And then I just like to give it a bit of a shake to make sure we get all the water out, because we don't want water in our lasagna.
I'm all used to work out with this small one for that. I'm happy. Yes, I can work with the lasagna, yeah.
So that's still a decent size amount of lasagna there. Give this a rinse so it's easy to wash later.
Good dish of lasagna, not much better.
Sound enough?
Yeah.
How do I cut that? Got scissors? Alright. Now we're just going to seal that up.
Did you want the room in the fridge?
And I am going to now put this in the fridge. Lasagna is in the fridge. So we'll come back in about 2.5–3 hours time from now. And like I mentioned before, we're going to remove the lasagna out of the fridge. We're going to replace that Glad wrap we've got on the top with alfoil. And then we place that in a preheated 180°C oven. I'm using an electric oven in our case. And what you do about halfway through the process, you remove the alfoil during the cooking process from the top. So that way it'll brown the top of your lasagna a bit more than if you leave the alfoil in. So it gives you that slight crispy top, and a lot of people like that crispiness on the top layer of their lasagna. So till then guys, next shot we'll cue to removing the lasagna out of the fridge into the oven, and then we'll have an hour later we'll show that the results, and then we'll cut it up, and then we're going to eat and enjoy. Just after 4 p.m, so it's a few hours later since I've last seen you on the video in the last step. So it's now time to cook our lasagna. So the lasagna is going into the oven. The oven has been preheated, so it's preheated at 180 degrees, and remember we're going to cook it for 1 hour. Now you can probably hear some noise on the roof, guys. We've got a wild wicked storm coming through, and it is downpouring. It's raining very heavy. So if you hear that noise, which I have no doubt you will, that's what it is. It's this heavy rain on our tin roof. And here's our lasagna. It's been sitting in the fridge waiting for us. So I'm going to remove. So there it is. So I'll let you have a close look at that. So now we're going to put this in the oven. I'm going to set the timer for 1 hour. Now we're not going to put any alfoil on the top of that, guys. So we've decided we're going to do this one without the alfoil, so we can get that little crispy layer on the top. 1 hour later, guys. Guess what it's time now? There's something sitting inside that oven that we're going to take out. So it's fully cooked now, so let's grab it out, put it on the bench and let you have a look. And me and Mum is going to eat it. Looks really, really good and smells really good. Just got a nice little bit, just a little bit of crispiness on the top. So it looks ideal. So we're going to move this camera closer for you and then cut it up. Now we're going to plate it out and we're going to eat it. And then I'm going to edit this video for you so you can watch it the following day. So cheers. Alright, get a couple of plates out. Do you want a big plate or a little plate?
Little plate.
That's a bigger plate for me. There we go. Is it cooked?
Yeah.
Alright. This is the bit we've been waiting for. Took a bit of work, guys, but we got there. There we go. Whoa. Look at that cheese. Once you get the first piece out, this one's for you. And another piece for me.
Very hot.
Here we go, guys. If I could focus that for you. And that's it. It's a little bit messier than normal, to be honest. I think that might be because of how thin the pasta is. But what does it taste like, Mum?
Good.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to taste really good. It smells wonderful. So guys, we've been working on this for quite a while. So I'm going to stop blabbering away at you guys. I'm going to let you guys be. I think this video is probably long enough. It's going to be over an hour. So I hope you watch it all. It'll be great if you do and not skip it all. That's no good. Don't cheat all the way to the end and skip it all to see how well it turned out. In fact, I'm going to grab a fork and try it myself. Yep, very good. Very tasty. Now that is excellent, guys. That is a really good meal just on its own. So we're going to enjoy lasagna for dinner for probably the next 3 nights. At least. I still reckon number 3 on the pasta machine. Number 3, it's a bit too thin, which makes the lasagna don't hold its shape when you cut it. But having it thinner, it's actually giving you more of this good quality sauce and the meat, which I really like. So I think it's an improvement. I think doing it at number 3 is an improvement in some ways. But it just makes it a little bit harder to make and keep together. That's the time of 1 hour. We just went off. Definitely cooked. And very, very yummy. Love it. That is awesome. So thanks guys for watching right through to the end. Those who watch right through the end, I'd like to get a bit of an idea how many of you have watched the whole video right through without skipping it. So if you can let me know. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, help my channel a lot. So guys, I want to get stuck into this and finish this off. So till next time, look after yourself, be kind to everyone, and stay tuned for the next video, whenever that comes out. Shouldn't be too far away, I'm working on a couple of videos now. So cheers.